Hey, everyone, this is Rene Manfre with What's Your Passion? Today, I'm starting a series on my story, right? We all have a story, and sometimes you just have to start the story. As we're going through writing a book, or if you're going through the process of really kind of figuring out how and what you want to do with your information that you want to share with the world, you kind of have to start back. So I'm starting with my story in decades, and it's easier for me to go through decades as in every 10 years versus trying to go back, one, two, three, age 18 or whatever. So I feel every decade has been a trauma or impact or some type of significant change or something that really affected me in my personal life. So I'm going to go to when I was in July 14th of 1989. I turned 19, and I was stabbed. So that night, I'm going to share with you the story, because this was an impact that I cannot get out of the mind. And sometimes if I can share the story with you of how it made an impact in my life, I think it changed the direction of my life, and I think it might help in some way, shape, or form, maybe with some other individuals who've been affected with different types of traumas, things of that nature from that. But it was really, so I had four really great friends in high school: Darren, Kevin, Jay. We were kind of like buddies, just everything we did. And I'm sometimes, going through life, we've not been in touch for 30 years, because we've gone in different paths. But those four individuals will always be an impact in my life and a part of my memories. And I am re-engaging with them as much as possible. I know life is just, as we get older, it just gets harder. It gets harder to kind of stay in touch with your friends and do things, because life is just fast. Everything's fast. I'm looking at, when you look at decades, I'm 53 years old, so I've actually been here almost 6 decades. It's incredible how the years go by, right? So that night, we had a little gathering at my house, and it was just really just birthday cake. My mother, we just always had celebrations of our birthdays. Mother passed about 6 years ago, actually yesterday on December 9th, 2017. Yesterday was a birthday, so today is December 10th of 2023. So she passed back in around 2017. And again, that changed the path of our family. That changed our life. Things are not the same like they used to be. When it comes down to gatherings, because she was the one who really was the sparkle, all right, of those gatherings. So we always had a birthday. So that particular night, we had a birthday at my house. I was working for a tuxedo company at the time, Hiram and Mary Bonnie. Again, those are three individuals who've been friends for years and remain friends to this day. And that night was really more of just I was excited. I think I was in the best shape of my life at that point. My daughter Melody was about 3 months old. So she was born on March 12th of 1989. So what I remember from that night was really just fun, excitement, aunts and uncles. We had a really good time at the house. And then we left the house, me and my three best friends at the time. We left the house, and at that time they had nickel draft, and so you have these bars in New Orleans that you would go to, and it was really very cheap ways of drinking draft and things. So I remember we went to a few different types of little bars, and we finally got to the French Quarter, and we parked around Jack's Brewery. So Jack's Brewery is a part of, when you come into New Orleans, you got the river. And everything in New Orleans kind of works on streets, to where the streets either go this way or they go this way, right? And I remember we parked somewhere around Jack's Brewery area, and we were walking down a street called Conti. And though at the time, when I go back through that night again, it's just, again, I was in the best shape of my life. I think at that point, I was working out. My older brother had a health club to where I was part-time training, coaching individuals at that time with training. And I was personally, I think maybe 4, 5, 6% body fat. My brother and myself, we used to work out together at times. And for him, he would, whenever we were doing crunches, things of that nature, he would kind of, we would hit each other on our stomachs, right? It was just kind of a more of a, I don't know what, I think it was some kind of crazy addiction that we had at the time, just kind of beating up on each other and inflicting pain. So when I go back through that process and remembering that night, it was just really, walking down the street, I guess, was what I remember. That me and a friend, one of my friends, were on a sidewalk walking, and two friends were in the street. And this is a story mainly just to kind of share with you how life changes in a matter of seconds. Things happen in our lives, and it depends on how you kind of remember it. When you go back, and it's like these visual visions of a movie, right? And you start figuring out, did these different times affect us in some which way, shape, or form? So what I find when I'm looking at this or thinking about it, it really was a very visual of, I remember walking, I remember we were having fun, we had a good evening so far at that point. And then I was passing up some individuals, girls on the street, and I guess I must have said, "Hey, sweetheart, it's my birthday." I do remember this very vividly, and it was mainly just because I'm always been a cheerful person, happy person. I just say hi to everybody, so I've never been a person to where I just if I'm happy, I'm just happy, especially if I'm had a few drinks and just saying hi to people, right? So when that happened, when I said that, I do remember in the back of me, "Hey, you." And so when I turned, very vividly, I remember a hit to the stomach. Now, when you're in this situation, everything goes fast. So the adrenaline, and all I went for is his Adam's apple. And I remember hitting them on a car. So it's just speed. Everything was kind of very impact, speed in my face. And I remember that was my reaction, right? So my reaction was, even though I didn't know he had a knife, I didn't know it was stabbed, I just turned, person in my face, felt something, reaction, right? And then I remember vividly that a friend, or one of my friends, I guess, based off the stories that they tell me after the fact, that he pulled me off. And when they pulled me off, because they saw the knife in his hand, they saw that I was really just not aware of what has happened or going on at the point, except for me being totally focused on inflicting pain, right? So what I find when that happened, they were screaming at me and they're saying, "Rene, you were stabbed." So evidently when they pulled me up off of the person to get me away from the knife, he evidently came up and stabbed me twice more. So at that point, what my feeling was in my mind was, damn, this guy can punch, right? And he's, for me being with my older brother, working out and doing these workouts together, and for him to hit me on the stomach and during our crunches and late things of that nature, in my mind, I was like, man, this kid can punch. And they ripped open my shirt, and the shirt that I had on, because I worked for this formal wear company, I just had this shirt on because it was very colorful, different colors and things of that nature. And so that night, it was just my celebration shirt, I guess. And so when that happened, they ripped open my shirt and said that, "Rene, you were stabbed." So I remember looking down, and I remember little red, blood, I guess, a little bit. But what happened was the knife actually cut the aorta and a few other organs. So it was a long knife, switchblade kind of so evidently it went very deep into my tissue, and it cut the main artery, which is the aorta. So the feeling at that point, the sounds, the visual sounds, the individual screaming of, "Rene, you're gonna be fine, you're gonna be fine," and all of a sudden, the pain. All I can do is relate it to an inferno, putting fire, a torch inside of your system, because the blood is now pouring into the stomach. It's not going into the heart and things of that nature. And so it was just really more than anything was in pain, just really. And I remember that in my mind, I know I yelled this, just let me die. Just let me go, because it was just unbearable. So I do remember my friend Darren, a few other individuals yelling at me at the time, "You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Stay awake. Stay awake." People were screaming, hollering, sirens. You see, it's just I'm going to try to react the scene as much as possible with pictures and videos and things of that nature. Right now, all I can do is really kind of just start sharing the story and try to put this into as much as I can visual. So I remember the fact of some individual, I believe, came and told my friend to push my legs up to my face, because that helps cut off the blood flow. So it kind of helps me, I guess, keeps it from clotting or getting out more. So I don't know all the terminology at the time, but I remember that. I remember the ambulance getting there. I remember the sirens. I remember the individual and paramedics, and I believe they had to kind of rip open my shirt and everything else for clothes. And I wanted Bourbon Street, if you know Bourbon Street, or the side streets, are nothing clean. And so I remember getting into the ambulance. My friend Darren, who was with me, apparently my two other friends did chase down this gentleman because he tried to escape. And the police were caught him, so they did catch him. But all this time period is a matter of hours, right? It's a matter of seconds, minutes, hours. So if it wasn't for timing, I guess, of the police to get the ambulance to me at the right time, if it was some different things or actions that certain people took to help save my life at that point, then that could have affected in a whole different area where I would not be doing this video today, right? So you have to look at everything in life from a perspective of seconds. Your time that you have, you don't know, from a car accident to a time, something of that nature, what I've gone through. So time is something you cannot get back. And when you go through this, you start really valuing your time more. You start understanding and realizing that what is your purpose? What is your passion, right? At that time, I was 19 years old, and that night, I knew I've always loved people. I've always had a great amount of friends between our whole family. You know, we're Italian, so Italian Catholic family. Everybody was family. So I do know at that point in my life that when I look back, that was really what we were all about, is just family, friends, supporting people, helping each other, neighbors, if they needed something done around the house. It was more of an act of kindness. It wasn't an act of, well, I'll do it if I get paid. It was really more of just serving, right? So going through this night, again, I'm in the ambulance. I remember my friend Darren telling me, "You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You're going to live. You're going to get through it." I was basically just kind of saying, I want to go. It's just pain. It's killing me, whatever. So I remember getting into the hospital. I remember seeing lights. I remember people yelling, screaming. I remember nurses asking me certain questions, things of that nature. I remember, I guess somewhere throughout that period of time, either they gave me some pain medicine and things of that nature. So I really didn't know what was going on until I got into the surgery room. I saw my parents. My parents came over as they were wheeling me into the emergency room. And so my mother and father was everything, right? So So basically, through the process, I never liked to let my mom and dad down. Never wanted to disappoint them. So I remember telling my mom and dad, no, I'm sorry. It wasn't my fault, right? Seeing their faces of worry, seeing their faces of fear. But I wanted to let them know it was going to be fine. So I go through the process. I remember being in the surgery room. They said I was in the surgery room 14 hours. They said that, they told me this, this was days later where I started understanding what was happening. But I guess throughout the night, it was like 14 hours, some crazy amount of hours. They said I was in a surgery room, which I can't fathom that. And I'm not sure of the total facts, but that's what I've been told. So again, screaming nurses, doctors. I guess they had to cut me open, kind of like a frog, right? Because they had to get into the system because the blood was pretty much, going away. So they told me I did die 2 to 3 times throughout the night, that they recovered me. Don't have any visual, don't have any recollection of lights and things of that nature, or somebody talking to me or anything of that nature. So I can't say that, right? Because I can't remember anything of that nature. All I can do is remember the experience. I can remember the feeling. I can remember the empathy, some of the conversations that people were saying, even though I wasn't really totally 100% comprehending. When you're in a surgery room, you have a team of people that have to do certain things, and each one has a certain task, right? You have your anesthesiologist that has to watch, different things on that aspect. You have your certain nurses that have to handle, make sure that scapulas and different bandages or whatever has to be done, prepare. So when you look at the power of really teamwork, when you look at the power of communication, when you look at the power of how a situation like that, how many people were involved in saving my life? How many people were involved because of all of a sudden, bam, something happened? And as tragic as it was, I still look back at it and I start really understanding how many people were involved into saving my life. My friends who supported me at the very beginning in making sure mentally I can stay focused. Mentally, I had to stay positive. Mentally, I had to get over the fact and figure out a way of how to go into another place in my mind to withstand the enduring pain and praying that it would be over. It's not easy when you think about it. And I put things out of my mind. I put things out because it's like a movie. Your life is a movie. And sometimes you have to put things out because you can think about it, you can down on it, you can drain yourself in energy and emotions. And I see people doing this with their lives. So this video is a tough video. Didn't think it was going to be. So when you look back at it, that next morning somewhere, I remember waking up. My eyes were very blurry. Everything was blurry. I remember my uncle, my aunt, mom and dad, people around the bed, I guess. And I guess I had a tube in my mouth, right? So, because when you go through something like that, you can't breathe. So they have oxygen tubes and everything else, and they have all kind of tubes all over the place. So I guess when I came out of it, I couldn't talk, right? Because I didn't know what this was in my throat, right? And it goes down all the way to your throat. So I freaked out, right? So I'm freaking out. So they had to strap me down to keep me calm, so I didn't rip that out or rip anything else out. Again, they had to go through and they had to open me up like a frog, right? So when you've ever gone through science classes when you're in school, we used to dissect frogs. So my visual was I was basically a frog, right? So they had to open me up, and so they cut me. And again, I didn't know all this neither, so I didn't know anything besides I'm in the hospital. I remember some actions that took place that night. Visually, I was trying to kind of comprehend where I was, what was going on. They started explaining to me what happened. They explained to me that they did catch the guy, he's in jail, and he was, my dad made sure that they were not going to let him out because they were thinking about letting him out. So my dad's one of those guys that you just don't mess with. So while I was on the surgery table that night, he went to, again, based off of what they told me, he was at this police station and they were going to let him out. And thinking about what he was going through, his son, I guess, being on a surgery table, and this guy was going to get out, right? The police were going to let him out and let him free. But he made sure that he understood that that would be a mistake. So just thinking about the pain that you endure to your family when things happen like this. It's sometimes tough. So I think I was in a hospital for a few weeks, if not a month. Remember nurses and people come into the room and they would all call me like this wonder kid or miracle child of some sort. I guess I got around the hospital of some sort. So we had Tulane doctors, LSU doctors. So down here at that time, there was a trauma charity hospital. So charity was known for trauma, and in New Orleans, we have a very special group of doctors that deal with trauma pretty much daily. So they said based off of that, that if I was not there, maybe that chances I wouldn't be here doing this video today. So I wish I can remember those doctors. I wish I would have stayed in touch with them. So that process of going through that for weeks, people coming in, me just basically living off of tubes for a while, I guess. And I remember I got finally better, and these nurses were great. They would come in every night and give me pain medicine, and doctors would come in and just really that support, I guess, of people saying you're going to be fine, you're doing good, you're doing well. Again, it's support. It's support. When you have individuals in your life You sometimes don't realize the support and the power of relationships, the power and impact of people that come in and out of your life within short periods of time that make a change, or it's kind of like dust, right? We're collecting dust on a daily basis. We're collecting dust every second. And it's the same thing with relationships. It's the same thing with the power of certain people, right? Certain people that come into your life that make this impact, that can make a change. And for me, I guess I go back through that. Now look, I start really understanding that, that was people who didn't know me, they didn't care, they weren't part of my family, but they gave me such care and kindness and good words of wisdom, or good words of just really hope, right? At the time, hope that I was gonna be fine. I'm gonna get through it. Just keep on every day. You're getting better, Rene. You're getting better, Rene. You're getting better, Rene. Priest, friends, family, going out of their way to come visit. Means a lot. It means a lot. So if I never say thank you to everyone, maybe this is my way of saying it. Maybe this is my way of just saying what I don't say to everyone. So I got through it. I remember they moved me from the ICU. So the IC room was awesome. I mean, it was like being in a resort. I constantly had attention, had people by my side at all times. I had food, all kind of things. So they put me into another ward. And because I was better, so you can't stay in the IC rooms for long term. So you move into the ward. So I was in this ward, and these individuals, it was tough. It was tough at the time because it was just like the ward was kind of, I don't know how, I've never been in prison. I have family members who have, but you're in this room where everybody else is in there. So you have tons of other people in beds. So some individuals are playing music, nuts, right? I went off. I couldn't get up. I couldn't move, but I was pissed, right? I was like, shut. 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night. It's hard enough trying to get sleep because when you have the doctors and nurses come in throughout the night and constantly checking on you. So you just want to sleep. I just want to sleep. I was pained. I was just miserable. I don't think I've ever, now I didn't take a bath because so I was still, they come in and wipe you down and things of that nature when you're in that position. Again, you have tubes and everything else, but so the ward was really a nightmare. I remember that very vividly. Every night, just trying to fight to get some sleep, keep individuals quiet, snoring, sneezing, music, whatever. So I remember getting home somewhere during that process, and I had to sleep in my mother and father's bed downstairs. We had a 2-story house, so I had to stay downstairs in their bed, and because it was the most convenient way to take care of me and everything else. So I remember my mom and me would have these spats where she gave me a bell. She told me to ring it, ding, ding, ding. If I needed anything, we didn't have any walkie-talkies back then, or cell phones, right? So we didn't have a cell phone. Today you have a cell phone. Back then it was just, hey, screaming, right? So I remember she gave me a bell. She would bring me soup or whatever, food. I got to the point where I was getting a little bit stronger, I guess. And What I wanted was smoothies or Wendy's and Frosties, I guess, at that point. We didn't have smoothies, no. It was Frosties from Wendy's and things of that nature. So I just told us, give me anything, because I lost everything. So I went from, at that point, I think the best fitness of my life to literally lost everything. I remember standing up and looking in the mirror for the first time, and I was a stick. I'm 6'2". And when I looked in the mirror, it's like I was just bones. My butt was gone, right? Because I was laying down for so long, I guess a month and a half or whatever, and all my body was depleted of proteins and things of that nature. So it was really just, I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and my brother, Michael, I remember, smart ass. I remember he said, "Man, where's your ass?" So I still remember that. I lost my brother this year. Oh, I'm telling you, it's hard to do anything like this. And I guess I didn't realize it. So I might share it, I might not, but I'll share you. So I remember these little parts that teasing. We got to the point to where, they would put me in a chair in a den so I can watch TV and things of that nature, and friends would come over. Support, again, your support system. Just hang out at the house. Again, my daughter was 3 months old, so just having, I wasn't able to hold her, right? I mean, she was just a baby still. It's crazy when I think about it. She might not have a dad today. I haven't been the best dad, but I love her. She's been a great kid. 34 years old. I got 2 grandchildren, Wyatt and McKelty. So I remember that support. I remember that support of friends. I remember the support of people coming over and constantly just saying, "Hey, we heard about this, and congratulations," or "You're going to get through it. You're doing so well." So all I can say, and the reason for this video, I think, is that we all have a story. We all have something in our lives that have turned somewhere. It's made an impact into us. And sometimes we don't realize it. Sometimes we don't understand it. Sometimes we don't see what certain traumas or certain occasions that have made an impact into us really start thinking, right? And because time is all we have, sometimes you don't know when your time is up. You don't know when. And so what all I can do with my passion of where I'm at right now in my life and purpose, I guess, is, and I wish I would have been doing this for years. I wish I would have been getting out of my own self doubts or things that I'm capable or should have been capable of doing. Video is not easy. Doing a video like this is not easy. I should have been more prepared and understanding I might have these breakdowns, but I hope it helps in some way, shape, or form, whoever's watching it, that your story makes a difference and you can help others in ways of emotions, business, just caring, just being a servant, right? I know most of my life has been consumed with money. Majority of my life has been consumed with business or doing things. And I'm very proud of that. But at the same time, yes, when you look back at it, really all I really want to do is just have a good time, have a bunch of friends around and have fun and just kind of do and serve, right? I want to serve. I want to do more for people. I want to help individuals. And my own traditional businesses, I wasn't able to do that. I wasn't able to help individuals in getting to a place. So I like before and afters, and so that's why I have my lawn care business. And so I love seeing something go from what it was and to a better turn. When I started real estate, the same thing. I love buying properties and renovating them and putting them better. So it's just like your whole life is nothing but before and after. So all you want is where you are. You want better, and then you want better, right? Now, at certain levels, you just kind of get to the points where you start understanding how much is too much or how much is really not really needed. I don't buy fancy clothes. I don't buy fancy watches, things of that nature. It's not something I need to do. I don't need to show you my beautiful, cars and everything else. My goal is really just to really get people to start thinking. Get people to really start taking action and helping finding themselves to where what is it that you're really doing? So if you are making good money and you are big and you're doing well, then what are you doing with it? Are you helping other people? So yes, I support a lot of individuals in my life, and I want to do more. I want to help people across the country. I want to help individual businesses get out of their stuck ways. Depression is huge in today's world. We need to make an impact, and together we can do a change. We can help other individuals that's going through depression or alcoholism, things of that nature. If businesses are suffering, there's ways of supporting those businesses and helping those business owners get bigger, get global. When you look at the power of video, you can't replace video. You can't replace social media. Social media is your new salespeople. You can never find a salesperson who is more passionate about your business more than you are. Now, I get a little bit more passionate about people's businesses because I really have just an ingrained interest in the stories of people and helping people get through and getting past, because I'm truly just driven to know where you can, when you put yourself back against a wall, you don't have an option besides trying to figure out how to get out and get away from the wall. For some people go down this little rabbit hole and they find themselves depressed and everything else. I don't know what that means. I don't understand it. I'm never going to let myself stay into a position of depression, or if something's going on, I've got to find a solution to the problem. So maybe I'm a problem solver. Yes. I'm a rainmaker. Yes. I'm a talker. Yes. I'm a very passionate person. Yes. All it is that I want to be a change for someone. So if this video in some way, shape, or form has helped you change or figure out that, hey, maybe he has a point, or maybe I got some little nugget out of all this. That's all I want to do, is just be a change. So What's Your Passion is really just becoming a company that it really endorses a lot of people inside of it, brings a lot of support into it, a lot of individuals. And all we're doing, one video at a time, one story at a time, one step at a time, one action at a time, is really just, you got to keep on going forward, and you got to figure out how you can overcome the fears, overcome your self-confidence, or get better self-confidence, overcome these different things that are keeping you from. So by doing these videos and doing this information that we're sharing and helping people with their social media videos and everything else, is really giving them the confidence that they can do it. And it takes a team sometimes to do it. So Rene Manfre, I pray that this video has made some type of a difference, and I pray that it can be an impact on others. And I'll probably do more and hopefully prepare better on some things. So thank you very much, and God bless. Bye-bye.